Hey everyone, Shadowstalker here. Just giving you a brief glimpse of how close I live to the harbor. There's a bunch of buildings over there. That's CVH. There's a couple abandoned buildings that are supposed to be haunted. It was on one of the ghost investigation TV shows. I would love to get on there. I'm just maybe a mile from there. It's Connecticut Valley Hospital. But yeah. What you guys think? This is the closest I can get to peace and quiet. Sad, isn't it? Well, today I was gonna do some spoon vending. But a friend of mine decided he wanted to poke fun at it. Which is pretty sad because I try not to poke fun at other people's belief systems or their knowings, no matter how awkward they may seem or what they were taught and bred to believe in. Yeah, that's that boat right there making all that noise. Anyway. I guess I'll have to move this. So it's been a long day. I was on one of the forums I go to, and the forum owner posted a thread about spoon bending and how to do it. And it says to just talk to the spoon telepathically, and that's cool. A lot of people have been able to use telekinesis in order to sync in with the world that they actually live in. So I figured I'd try it. And one of my friends texted me, and I told him what my plans were, and he decided to poke fun at it. Now I'm all flustered and pissed off because, I've never poked fun at his belief systems, and we've been talking for a month or two and so on, and here he comes out of the blue with this, and I'm not too thrilled with that. So I let him know how I feel, and I told him I wasn't going to talk to him until he figures it out. I mean, people, you can either support one another or be quiet about it, because it doesn't help anything. It doesn't help people grow to poke fun at them. It's like trolling. And friends aren't supposed to do that. And this brings up the video I saw earlier that Callie did yesterday about the paranormal and males and females and groups and teams and whatnot, and the prices people have to pay, and this just went right into sync. And I can't say anything against it because, there's always a price to pay for something. It's either good or bad. Depends on how you take it. Right now I'm taking it badly. But I'm also using it as another life lesson. There are just certain things you just don't say to people if you don't know them well enough. So, in essence, I'm just going to stay here, think about what he said, and I'm going to think about what I'm going to do. I did bring the spoon with me, though, so I am going to try to concentrate and talk to the spoon, as it were, because it can be done. Despite all the hoax videos that are out there and all the so-called magicians that are out there. Which also brings me to another subject. Just because you can doesn't mean you're in league with a devil of any kind. And I find that highly fearful and judgmental. Mainly people do that because they are in fear, because they've been taught and trained that if you can't see, hear, smell, touch, or whatever, that it doesn't exist. And then when it's presented to them, finally, they all wig out. And that's fine. It's part of the process. It's to be expected. But I'm not here to wig out. I'm not here to be in fear. I'm here to learn, just like everybody else. And I'm not going to tell people that they can't do it just because I can't. That's another thing that bothers me about people. Just because my experience doesn't match up with your experience doesn't mean that your experience didn't happen at all. I just find it fascinating how people treat one another. And it just breaks down to, what do you do with it? You could ignore it. You get pissy about it. But I'm just gonna ignore it and live my life my way. Why? Because I'm happier that way. I tried living it their way, and I was so depressed. It wasn't even funny. If you don't live your life your way, you're gonna be just like them, stuck in a corner, being a sheeple, and not living. And if you don't live, you can't grow. If you can't grow, you can't be happy. So more on the subject of telekinesis. When I was a kid, my dad tried to teach me how to do that with a stuffy. He didn't tell me how to do it, he just said do it. I was never able to make a move, but apparently the next day it fell apart. So apparently I spoke to it in the wrong way. So I'm going to try again with the spoon, and I'm going to try to make it bend, and I'm going to try to make it work. And I am going to record it. That way I can prove that yes, I am not a fakester, I'm not a fraud, but I'm certainly not a satanic worshiper, and I'm not in league with the devil. People just have to stop being fearful. Just because you can do something with your mind doesn't mean you are a bad person. Even Jesus said, whatsoever I can do, you can do even greater. Why people tend to state that it never was said, you need to look in your Bibles, man. He turned a couple loaves of bread into enough to feed 5,000 people. Same with fishes. He turned water into wine. And if he can state that we can do it even better than him if we so choose, why are we ignoring that? Why are we choosing to believe that it can't be done? Jesus didn't give us permission to do such things. He allowed us to know that we had the right to do these things and that we are capable of doing these things. Now, mind you, I'm not a Bible thumper. I don't follow the Bible wholeheartedly. There's a whole bunch in there I just simply do not support. But I have no doubt that some of the things did happen, but I don't see it as a religious, dogmatic thing, which is the reason why I do pick and choose on what I see fit. That's the whole point of free will choice. Jesus did not say it can happen after you go to heaven. He didn't say you can do this after you become so-called born again. And being born again just means you drop dogma and lead a whole entirely different spiritual life, not a religious life. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If you believe in a God, a loving God, then you should have no problems. Jesus also said to look inward, that you are the gods. Why do people choose to ignore that as well? Look inward. Look to yourself for the answers. Nah. I'm just going to do what I need to do. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to think for myself. Trying not to let my friends poke fun at me. And don't forget, people, I have music out there and I have books out there that you guys can get. It's all spiritual. It's all learning. It's all experience. So check them out. Just like the water we see in front of us. It's constantly moving, constantly flowing. People need to flow.